Methodological naturalism, the axiom of materialism as it is applied to modern science. In other words, only materialistic, naturalistic answers are ever allowed, is the primary method of science taught in American universities. Yet, materialism is not itself a finding of modern science, but is merely an unproven philosophy that is a priori imposed onto science. It is a completely unproven philosophy which makes the dogmatic assertion that only blind material processes generated the universe and everything in it, including ourselves. Materialism is thus in direct opposition to theism, which holds that God purposely created this universe and everything in it, including holding that God created us in His image. This dogmatic imposition of the philosophy of materialism, methodological naturalism, onto modern science is especially interesting since materialism had little to nothing to do with the founding of modern science. But instead, modern science was born out of the medieval Christian cultures of Europe by men who were by and large devoutly Christian in their beliefs. Moreover, science, or more particularly the scientific method, in reality only cares to relentlessly pursue the truth and could care less if the answer turns out to be a materialistic one or not. Ironically, since truth itself is a transcendent entity which is not reducible to purely material natural processes, then methodological naturalism actually precludes the truth from ever being reached by science. Imposing materialistic answers onto the scientific method beforehand is especially problematic in these questions of origins, since we are indeed questioning the materialistic philosophy itself. We are asking the scientific method to answer this very specific question. Did God create the universe and us, or did blind material processes create the universe and us? When we realize that this is the actual question we are seeking an answer to within the scientific method, then of course it is readily apparent we cannot impose strict materialistic answers onto the scientific method prior to investigation. When looking at the evidence for modern science in this light, we find out many interesting things which scientists who have been blinded by the philosophy of materialism miss. This is because the materialistic and theistic philosophy have made several natural contradictory predictions about what type of science evidence we will find. These contradictory predictions and the evidence we have found by modern science can be tested against one another to see if either materialism or theism is true. Here are a few comparisons. Naturalism, materialism predicted space-time, energy, matter always existed. Theism predicted space-time, energy, matter were created. Big Bang cosmology now strongly indicates that space-time, energy, matter had a sudden creation event approximately 14 billion years ago. Naturalism, materialism predicted that the universe is a self-sustaining system that is not dependent on anything else for its continued existence. Theism predicted that God upholds this universe in its continued existence. Breakthroughs in quantum mechanics reveal that this universe is dependent on a non-local, beyond space and time, cause for its continued existence. Naturalism and materialism predicted that consciousness is an emergent property of material reality, and thus should have no particularly special position within material reality. Theism predicts consciousness precedes material reality, and therefore, on that presupposition, consciousness should have a special position within material reality. Quantum mechanics reveals that consciousness has a special, even a central, position within material reality. Naturalism, materialism predicted the rate at which time passed was constant everywhere in the universe. Theism predicted God is eternal and is outside of time. Special relativity has shown that time, as we understand it, is relative and comes to a complete stop at the speed of light. Naturalism, materialism predicted the universe did not have life in mind and that life was ultimately an accident of time and chance. Theism predicted this universe was purposely created by God with man in mind. Scientists find the universe is exquisitely fine-tuned for carbon-based life to exist in this universe. Moreover, it is found, when scrutinizing the details of physics and chemistry, that not only is the universe fine-tuned for carbon-based life, but is especially fine-tuned for life like human life. Naturalism, materialism predicted complex life in this universe should be fairly common. Theism predicted the Earth is extremely unique in this universe. Statistical analysis of the hundreds of required parameters which enable complex organic life to be possible on Earth gives strong indication the Earth is extremely unique in this universe. Naturalism, materialism predicted it took a very long time for life to develop on Earth. Theism predicted life to appear abruptly on Earth after water appeared on Earth. Geochemical evidence from the oldest sedimentary rocks ever found on Earth indicates that complex photosynthetic life has existed on Earth as long as water has been on the face of Earth. Naturalism, materialism predicted the first life to be relatively simple. Theism predicted that God is the source for all life on Earth. The simplest life ever found on Earth is far more complex than any machine man has made through concerted effort. Naturalism, materialism predicted the gradual unfolding of life would, someday, be self-evident in the fossil record. Theism predicted complex and diverse animal life to appear abruptly in the seas in God's fifth day of creation. The Cambrian explosion shows a sudden appearance of many different and completely unique fossils within a very short geologic resolution time in the Cambrian seas. Naturalism, materialism predicted there should be numerous transitional fossils found in the fossil record. Theism predicted sudden appearance and rapid diversity within different kinds found in the fossil record. Fossils are consistently characterized by sudden appearance of a group kind in the fossil record, disparity, then rapid diversity within that group kind, and then long-term stability and even deterioration of variety within the overall group kind and within the specific species of the kind over long periods of time. Of the few dozen or so fossils claimed as transitional, not one is uncontested as a true example of transition between major animal forms out of millions of collected fossils. Naturalism, materialism predicted animal speciation should happen on a somewhat constant basis on Earth. Theism predicted man as the last species created on Earth. Man, our genus Homo, as distinct from the highly controversial early Homo, is the last generally accepted major fossil form to have suddenly appeared in the fossil record. Naturalism, materialism predicted that the separation of human intelligence from animal intelligence is one of degree and not of kind. Theism predicted that we are made in the image of God. Despite an explosion of research in this area over the last 4 decades, Human beings alone are found to mentally dissect the world into a multitude of discrete symbols and combine and recombine those symbols in their minds to produce hypotheses of alternative possibilities. Moreover, both biological life and the universe itself are found to be information theoretic in their foundational basis. Naturalism, materialism predicted much of the DNA code was junk. Theism predicted we are fearfully and wonderfully made. In cold research into DNA has revealed a biological jungle, deeper, denser, and more difficult to penetrate than anyone imagined. Naturalism, materialism predicted an extremely beneficial and flexible mutation rate for DNA, which was ultimately responsible for all the diversity and complexity of life we see on Earth. Theism predicted only God created life on Earth. The mutation rate to DNA is overwhelmingly detrimental to such a point that it is seriously questioned whether there are any truly beneficial information building mutations whatsoever. Materialism predicted morality is subjective and illusory. Theism predicted morality is objective and real. Morality is found to be deeply embedded in the genetic responses of humans. As well, morality is found to be deeply embedded in the structure of the universe, embedded to the point of eliciting physiological responses in humans before humans become aware of the morally troubling situation and even prior to the event even happening. Naturalism, materialism predicted that we are merely our material bodies with no transcendent component to our being, and that we die when our material bodies die. Theism predicted that we have minds, souls that are transcendent of our bodies, that live past the death of our material bodies. Transcendent and conserved cannot be created or destroyed, non-local, beyond space-time matter-energy. Quantum entanglement information, which is not reducible to matter-energy space-time, is now found in our material bodies on a massive scale, in every DNA and protein molecule. As you can see, when we remove the artificial imposition of the materialistic philosophy, methodological naturalism, from the scientific method and look carefully at the predictions of both the materialistic philosophy and the theistic philosophy side by side, we find the scientific method is very good at pointing us in the direction of theism as the true explanation for why the universe exists and for why we ourselves exist. In fact, science is even very good at pointing us to Christianity as the solution for the much sought after theory of everything. You may catch a small glimpse of what that evidence looks like in this video entitled General Relativity, Quantum Mechanics, and the Shroud of Turin. Well, that's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching.